sweet-ass run it's been. Epic forces of darkness and light. What a world. Universe now.
Hey everyone, BilboCraft here, and welcome back to another ranking video. If you guys saw part 1 of the part 2 ranking of all 23 films, hope you guys did enjoy that. We're going to be continuing on where we left off. We ranked off the first 13 films. Now we're going to rank off the rest. Coming up, number 12 is Captain America Civil War. Now, this movie is really good, but it has some flaws. And I'll tell you which one of them isn't. It's the crazy action sequences that we got in this movie! This movie, guys, is one of the craziest Marvel movies that Marvel has ever put out on screen. Especially with that airport battle and then that emotional final battle, you guys, with Iron Man and Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That stuff is just great. It had all the consequences that other Marvel movies set up. With the attack on New York, Sokovia, everything in Washington, D.C., it packed all that. And it made everyone decide, are you on this side or are you on this side? And for me, you guys, I was on Team Cap, you guys. Alright, sorry. I know everyone's going to say, but you're a big Spider-Man fan. Sorry, Spidey, nothing against you, man, but I'm on Team Cap, sorry. That twist that Bucky killed Tony's parents, it hits you deep down inside and it makes you think, oh no, this really does shift everything, and you're like, do I switch sides or do I stay on the same side? Sorry, guys. After that twist, man, I was still on Team Cat, you guys. I'm sorry. I love you, Tony. But killing Bucky's not going to bring your parents back. I'm so sorry. Now, the only thing I have against this movie is Zemo's plan, okay? It's just too complicated. It just really doesn't make sense at a lot of times. You're thinking, really? What? You're saying, wait, then how would they... It makes you think, and it's like... It's kind of like Lex Luthor's plan in BVS, where you're like, what? And if I didn't say this in my BVS review, Lex Luthor's plan is less complicated than Zemo's plan. I'm just going to say that. But that airport battle scene, you guys, oh my god. That scene is just great. You have all these characters. You get to see Black Panther and Spider-Man fighting against the Avengers. You get to see Ant-Man turn into Giant Man. Stuff was crazy. It was phenomenal. It was one of the best action sequences that Marvel's put out. Coming up, number 11 is Thor Ragnarok. Now, a lot of people are going to say again, why is this not at your top 10? Sorry, guys. When I give my top 10, guys, you'll understand why. But this was really good. This was going to be number 10 on my spot, you guys. Thor Ragnarok, in my opinion, is the best Thor movie that they've come out with. And because of its successful, they're making a fourth Thor film called Thor Love and Thunder. And I cannot wait. Taika Waititi and the cast from the first Thor movies, even from Thor Ragnarok, are returning, and I cannot wait. They finally found the tone, you guys. They finally found it that Chris Hemsworth is a funny guy. He's a really good actor, but he finally found out what he's really good at. Comedy action movies. And he delivered it. The first few minutes of Thor Ragnarok are some of the funniest moments in any Thor film. The duo between Hulk and Thor, when they fight in that arena, it's crazy. The brotherhood between Thor and Loki is great. It just, you want to root for them both, and you want to make them, you want them both to love each other, and you want them both to work together so they can defeat a common enemy, which happens to be their half-sister, Hela. And all the sequences on Sakaar, all the sequences on Asgard were really good. Especially that final battle where where he reaches his full potential, where he finds out he's not the god of hammers, he's the god of lightning. It was so great. I loved every bit of it. Now, the only problems I have with this film is that, even though it's a funny film, it's too silly. And when you have a title like Thor Ragnarok, Ragnarok meaning the end of Asgard, or the meaning of everything, it doesn't really hold up to, oh, it's the end of Asgard, but it's kind of funny. It's too silly at some points. There's not enough Hela. Cate Blanchett did a great job with her screen time, but she just didn't have a lot of it, and that for me ruins it. When you have a good actor portraying a great villain or great character, but they don't get enough screen time. And a movie set on the end of Asgard, there's not a whole lot of scenes with Asgard for me, and that enough just kills the whole movie for me. I do like that they blow up Asgard at the very end, but everyone gets off. But still, if we had got some more scenes on Asgard, maybe I would have enjoyed the movie a little bit more. I also love Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie. I thought she did a really good job. Taika playing Korg. Some good stuff, Taika. Keep it up. Coming up number 10 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, a lot of people are going to say, why is this number 10? For me, this is the funniest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm sorry, you guys. It's my opinion. Please respect it. Leave your rankings down below. It has some of the funniest jokes in the entire movie. And like the first film in the Ant-Man saga, it was a heist film. This one is more of a chase film, and I like that they're doing that. I don't know if Marvel's intending them to do that, but for me, that's the way I'm seeing these movies. Is that the first Ant-Man movie was a heist film? This movie is more of a chase film, where they go to one location, they get chased. They go to another, they get chased, or something happens and they have to go chase the villains. I thought that was really cool. And at the very end, it becomes a big chase. You know, they have to go chase after the laboratory. They have to go chase Ghost to chase them. I thought that was all really good. It set up things for the Quantum Realm that would return in Endgame. All the stuff that it might tease with mutants and the Fantastic Four. Stuff's really, really good. I love that the Wasp finally got her shine in the spotlight. You got to see more of Giant Man, which was great. The only thing that hurts this film for me, like Guardians 2, is the villains. Where Ghost, she's a really good villain, and I like that she's different from all the other villains, where she wants to get rid of her powers because it's killing her. But she doesn't really have a memorable scene, you guys. Like a really cool action scene or something that really just stands out to her. Her costume stands out. But the other villains like Sonny Birch working for a mysterious benefactor. Nothing against the actor or anything, but he just really doesn't have any memorable scenes, you guys. So hopefully when they do the third Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, hopefully they do something really cool where they have some better villains. Coming up number 9 is Doctor Strange. Now for me, this movie beat Ant-Man with the visuals. The visuals in this film are some of the craziest visuals in any Marvel movie. The soundtrack is really, really good. I love the soundtrack in this film. I love it. My favorite scene in this film is the second act where Stephen Strange finally, he's getting used to all his powers, and he's facing all these sorcerers with Caecilius and everything, where he gets the cloak of levitation. All that stuff is just beautiful, and you're seeing all the magic and all the visuals just coming out. Stuff is really good. And I love how it took one of the craziest Marvel characters and made it into this really cool, fun action, comedy, sorcery, and mysterious movie. And I'm very excited for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as that's going to be a horror film, and it's also going to explore more of the multiverse. That stuff's going to be really cool, Marvel. Keep it up. And we got Sam Raimi directing that. Come on, Marvel. You killing it right now. You've been killing it, man. The only thing I have a problem with this movie is the lack of screen time for the villain. Caecilius did a really good job on screen when he was on screen, but he really just didn't have a lot of screen time for me, and that kind of kills it. You have a really cool character, and Dormammu as well. He's kind of there as a second villain, but we really don't see him until like the third act. But that's the only thing that ruins this film for me. Coming at number 8 is Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Now, before Civil War, this had the crazy action sequences. That whole second act where they're fighting on the highway, the final action set piece, where you think Nick Fury's gonna die at the very beginning. That stuff is all really, really cool. The story where it was more of a political thriller, and you have kind of like double agents, and you're like, the government that you've been fighting for all these years turns out to be an evil organization. That stuff is just crazy. I didn't want to believe it too, like Cap. I was like, are you serious? Really? This is what we're going at? But it all makes sense, you guys. And it makes it all the more heartbreaking when we find out that Hydra has really infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. all this time. The twist, me growing up, I didn't know that Bucky turned out to be the Winter Soldier. And I read a lot of comics, but I never read any Winter Soldier comics. And so when I saw Bucky turn out to be the Winter Soldier, it blew my mind. It blew my mind when they revealed that Nick Fury came back to life. I didn't want to believe it at the very beginning, but at the same time, I was like, we're in a new territory. We're in phase 2. Anything can happen now. All that stuff was really, really crazy for me. It has a few minor flaws, like plot leaks and just like how does this all add up and how does this all tie into things. But other than that, that does not ruin the film for me. Coming at number 7 is Spider-Man: Homecoming. Now, if you guys saw my ranking of all the Spider-Man movies, you know that I really do love this movie. I love Tom Holland acting. He's both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. He kills it in this role. Michael Keaton as the Vulture. He did a phenomenal job. He took this goofy character that people laughed at, and he made him terrifying, menacing, and all the more great. His action scenes are some of the craziest in any Spider-Man movies. All the setups that set up everything for future Spider-Man movies and for his return in all the Avengers films, that stuff's crazy. I love the final battle where it has Spider-Man fighting Vulture on a plane. They crash, and it's more about Spidey saving a father than just taking down one of his villains. The only thing that ruins this movie for me is that the trailers spoiled it. That second trailer where it spoils the whole fight on the ferry, that kind of just gives it away for me. But it did not ruin the film for me. Coming at number 6 is The Avengers, the very first Avengers film. Seeing all 6 of these characters come together on the first time. We had 5 films leading up to this movie, and you're thinking, how is there's no way this is gonna work. How are they gonna tie in? How are these characters gonna work together? How are they gonna have enough screen time? But it worked. Marvel did so good with making all these characters believable, tying in all their storylines to take out a common enemy. The action sequences are some of the craziest in the Marvel movies, with the helicarrier crash and that final battle against the Chitauri. That stuff is crazy. All the relationships between all the characters, them turning on each other, them working together, all that stuff is just blending all good together. The only thing that really ruins this movie for me is the costume choices. I really hate Captain America, Thor's costumes, and I really don't like how they portrayed Hawkeye in this film, where he's mind controlled throughout the film. And I love that he teased it, that he called back to it in Age of Ultron, where he said, "I've done the whole mind control thing. I'm not a big fan." And I'm glad that they gave Hawkeye some more bigger roles in the other films. Coming up, number 5 is Black Panther. This is the first serious film in any of the Marvel movies, and it did so good at the box office. It did so good at the domestic. This movie is a generational film for everyone, you guys. The villain, this is the best villain in any of the Marvel movies. He's the best. I don't care what people say about Thanos. Eric Killmonger, he is the best villain that Marvel has introduced. You get to understand him. You understand what he's doing you understand what he's doing, and you kind of get throughout the film, and you're like, maybe he is right. Maybe I should do it. But at the same time, you keep thinking in the back of your mind, like, oh, see, he's going a little bit too far with it. We need to do what he's doing, but at the same time, we don't need to go over the top like he wants to. But that's really all stuff good. My favorite scene in the entire film is the very first act, where you have the fight scene on the waterfall, and you go to Korea, you go to South Korea, and then you get to see the big chase scene. All that stuff's really, really good. I love the tone and mood that they were going with this film. But the only thing that ruins this film for me is the third act CGI. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, okay, it's okay, but it could have been better. Now that I watch it over and over again, I'm like, yeah, I wish they had spent the 2 weeks and did better on the CGI, but it did not stop me from loving this movie even more. Coming at number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie, you guys, is just one of the weirdest, but also one of the greatest movies that Marvel's ever made. James Gunn's vision and the way that he wrote the story, the way he directed it, and the way he produced it, that stuff was crazy. I loved his vision for it. It took a band of misfits with Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot. All these characters that made no sense, but then you put them all together on the same team, and it's just like, wow, they actually can do some stuff together. I love the scene where they're in the prison, and they all team up for the very first time. That stuff's all really, really good. The heartbreaking end, what Groot sacrificing himself, and then where they all band together and they all hold the Power Stone and they say, "We are the Guardians of the Galaxy." All that really works out for me. The only thing that I have a problem with this movie is the villain just didn't have enough screen time for me. I love Ronan the Accuser, but for me, he didn't really have enough screen time, and that's what killed the movie for me a little bit. And now, you guys, we're at the top 3. You guys, are you ready? Coming at number 3 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Spider-Man. That said home. Sorry, let's just... Coming in number 3 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, originally this was going to be number 2 on the spot, but I gotta give the first and second place, you guys. You guys might already be guessing them, but we'll get to them in just a second. This was going to be number 2 for me. I love this film. As you guys know, this is my favorite Spider-Man film. Go back and watch my ranking of all 9 Spider-Man movies, including Venom, and you'll see why, you guys. But I love that Peter has all this drama, and where the whole world is telling him to be Spider-Man, but he's deciding, but he's going through a whole lot, where he came back from the dead. He's dealing with the fact that his mentor is dead. He wants to ask out the love of his life. He wants to enjoy his youth, but at the same time, he wants to be the hero that Tony wanted him to be. He wants to be the hero that the world wants him to be. You have the romance between Peter Parker and Mary Jane. You guys, I'm so sorry, you guys. I apologize, you guys. I'm so sorry. You have the relationship between him and MJ, which is so beautiful on and off screen. I love their chemistry. The VFX and the visuals are the best in any Spider-Man movie that I've ever seen. And that ending, the final battle, is crazy. It's my favorite final battle in any of the Spider-Man movies. But the cliffhanger that the whole world now knows who Spider-Man is, I just can't wait, you guys, to see where Spider-Man goes in Spider-Man 3. The only thing that I have against this movie is that the comedy doesn't always land very well with the film. But here you go, you guys. Coming at number 2 is Avengers Infinity War. You guys, we've had 10 years leading up to this, you guys, with Iron Man 1. Now we get to Avengers Infinity War. Going into this film, you guys, the cast and crew, everyone that worked on this film did a phenomenal job. I love this movie to death. You thought Captain America Civil War and Winter Soldier had the crazy action sequences. Nuh-uh. This has massive action sequences from the very beginning. This movie is on non-stop. It's like 5 minutes of talking, and then it's 10 minutes of action. You got 5 minutes of talking, then it's 10 minutes of action. This movie is on non-stop. It never ends. It feels like you're watching a Saturday morning cartoon, and it's like a 1 hour special, and you're just like, when is it gonna end? When am I gonna catch a breath? But you just don't. It does not end, you guys. It's on from beginning to end. Josh Brolin's Thanos is crazy. He does a really good job with the mocap, the emotion, all the moments that he's on screen. This is his film. It's less of an Avengers film and more of a Thanos film. That ending, you guys, the build up from all of the movies leading up to this one ending, just to see all our characters die, and then you get all this emotional ending where half the characters are alive, and then all the new characters and all the characters that we didn't expect to die just disappear. And you guys know, seeing my son Spidey die and just Tony Stark's arms is just sad. And that, for me, my theater, man, every time I saw one of these movies, this movie really killed me. Sitting there just in tears, like, really? This is what we're watching? Really? But seeing the villain win for the first time ever, that just blew me away. It kind of reminded me of watching Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, and just, you're like, is this really how it ends? Are you serious? Now, for me, this movie, it has no flaws. It has nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. And that brings us to our runner-up, number 1, Avengers Endgame. This movie does everything. Like Avengers Infinity War, it has crazy action sequences. You have the tone and mood, you guys. That it had 11 years building up, you guys, and you cannot ruin that. There is nothing that can ruin this movie. I loved everything about it, with all the relationship between the original Avengers and all the characters that return, and everyone that comes together to fight a common enemy. Everything that does so well. It has a really good soundtrack. I loved every single moment of this film. Seeing so much payoff just in one movie is great. Seeing Tony reunite with his father, and seeing Thor pass on the mantle to Valkyrie, and then seeing Cap go back and live his life with Peggy. All that stuff is just heartwarming. Tony sacrificing himself by saying, "I am Iron Man," snapping Thanos out of existence, and just seeing him die in front of everyone. It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, you guys, it's also heartwarming. And then that ending, that final battle, you guys, is just crazy. Seeing all the characters return and hearing Cap say, "Avengers, assemble." It's just so crazy. It's why we go to these movies, you guys. Not only just to see crazy action sequences and go and see comic book movies. They're also theater movies. They're also movies that you guys can see a reaction. It's like watching Avatar, a Star Wars film, or a Titanic. It's just what we do. We go to these movies. We love them. We have a good time. And for me, you guys, this movie, it has no flaws. There is nothing wrong with this film. You can poke at it and go, but the time travel doesn't make any sense. Dragon Ball's timeline doesn't make any sense. Back to the Future's timeline. You want to go see a time machine? No, you don't want to go see a time machine. You want to go see a timeline that makes no sense? Go watch the Terminator films, because those movies don't make any sense whatsoever until they retcon it in Terminator Dark Fate. So you guys, that was my ranking of all 23 films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for watching these videos. I hope you enjoyed part 1 and part 2. As always, you can leave your rankings down below in the comments, or you can go check out some more of my rankings that I've done in the past with my DC films, with the Spider-Man films. I'm going to be doing some more rankings, like top 10 stuff, you guys. If you want to, you can go look at my other social media accounts, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They'll have all my rankings of all these films down below. As always, you guys, leave what you thought about my rankings, and leave your rankings down below. But next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. And remember, always imagine bigger.